It was the first time this American mother met her 6-year-old daughter.
Hi, Mama.
The little girl, innocent and sweet, instantly captured her heart. As she looked at the child, she felt a wave of affection, but also confusion. How could someone so lovely have been abandoned by her birth parents? Gently, she pulled the girl into her arms, as if to say, "From now on, you have a home." The little girl had no idea that, in that quiet moment, her life had already begun to change. Soon, she would become the beloved daughter of this family, embraced with love, and step into a future completely different from the one she had known. Even 10 years later, her story would still bring tears to countless eyes.
We're going to help her. We feel like she's going to bless our life.
Her name was Tang Na, and she came from Zhuzhou, a city in China's Hunan province. Born with Down syndrome, she was abandoned by her birth parents before she was even 4 weeks old. Local police issued a search notice, but no one came. Eventually, she was taken in by a welfare center. From the very beginning, her life was marked by hardship, as if loneliness was her only destiny. But at the age of 6, something unexpected happened. A couple from the United States came across her file. That quiet encounter would change everything. The Shukbul lived in Texas. They were still young, but had long dreamed of adopting a child from China. Years ago, they nearly started the process, but a surprise pregnancy and busy careers caused them to postpone. Now, with 5 biological children, the desire to adopt a Chinese girl had never left their hearts. In 2015, they finally resumed the journey. Among a group of photos and videos sent from the welfare center, one child stood out to them immediately. Tang Na, the little girl with Down syndrome. When they learned that children like her often spend their entire lives in institutions if not adopted, they made their decision. She would be their daughter. Their decision was warmly supported by all 5 of their children. The entire family embraced the idea of welcoming someone new into their lives. But when the Shuks submitted the adoption application, the welfare center staff were clearly surprised. Most adoptive families, understandably, choose children who are healthy and require less specialized care. Adopting a child with Down syndrome is a lifelong commitment. It brings added emotional challenges, increased medical and educational needs, and financial strain. So the staff felt it necessary to ask the couple directly. Were they truly prepared to become the parents of a child with such special needs? The Shuks didn't hesitate. They looked at each other, then nodded firmly. Their hearts were already certain.
I'm not scared at all. I have so much joy in my heart for these children. There's no room for fear.
To the Shuks, every child is a gift, a little angel brought into this world. While healthy children may find homes more easily, those with disabilities often wait for love that never comes. They wanted to give their love to the children most often overlooked. After over a year of preparation, they finalized the adoption paperwork and gave Tang Na a new name, Lucy. With gifts carefully packed for their daughter, they boarded a plane bound for China. Even though it was their very first meeting, Lucy wasn't afraid of the blonde-haired, blue-eyed woman standing before her. She felt the kindness and warmth coming from her new mom, and slowly, her nervousness faded. She stared curiously at this unfamiliar face. With gentle encouragement, Lucy finally whispered one word, "Mom." That single word broke through all the distance and hesitation. Tears welled up in the mother's eyes as she wrapped Lucy tightly in her arms. In that embrace, she knew this little girl had become part of her forever. After spending just one afternoon together, Lucy had already begun to accept her new parents, people of a different skin color, from a different culture, with no blood connection. And so, on that quiet day in China, a bond of love was formed, one that would stretch across continents and last a lifetime. As the Shuks prepared to bring Lucy home to the United States, they noticed another child at the welfare center, a 6-year-old boy with a visual impairment who was especially close to Lucy. The two were inseparable, sharing a bond built on mutual trust and comfort. Watching how deeply they relied on each other, the couple began to wonder, could they possibly adopt him too? It was not a decision made on impulse. It came from something deeper, a quiet determination not to separate two children who had already lost so much. Having already been through the process once with Lucy, the Shooks quickly completed the adoption paperwork for the little boy. They gave him a new name, Henry. Although they knew almost nothing about him besides his age and name, he didn't feel like a stranger. In their hearts, they believed that if life had brought them together, then he was meant to be part of their family. Lucy and Henry were both 6 years old, but had spent their entire lives within the walls of an orphanage. They had barely seen the outside world. Not wanting them to miss out on childhood experiences, the Shooks decided not to fly straight home. Instead, they took time to travel across China with the children, visiting new places and exploring the culture. Over the course of a month, the bond between them deepened. Slowly but surely, this family, once strangers, began to feel like home to each other. Lucy, once shy and withdrawn, had begun to open up. Her smile became brighter and she started speaking more freely. One of her favorite things was proudly introducing her mom and dad to other people.
亲爱的爸爸，
这是你的爸爸，是吗？
是我们妈妈。
是你的妈妈 ，OK。
After spending over a month in China, the Shooks finally returned to the U.S. with Lucy and Henry. From that day forward, the children's lives changed completely. No longer surrounded by the quiet routine of the orphanage, they now had a home. A real one. They had parents, siblings, and a space filled with love and laughter. Slowly, the loneliness faded. The unfamiliar surroundings started to feel safe. Their new family gently helped them adjust to everyday life, step by step. Nothing flashy, just steady love, like sunlight warming two hearts that had long been cold. To help Lucy and Henry settle in, the Shooks made a point to spend time with them every week, no matter how busy life got. They also sat down with their older children to explain that Lucy, because of her Down syndrome, would take longer to learn and move through tasks. And Henry, with his poor eyesight, would need extra help and patience. They told their kids not to rush or pressure their new siblings, but instead to celebrate every small step they made. And the older siblings did just that. They embraced Lucy and Henry wholeheartedly. Together, they ran across grassy fields, played in the sand, visited space museums, and cheered at baseball games. For the first time in their lives, Lucy and Henry were experiencing the simple joys of childhood, surrounded by love. Time moved quietly, and before they knew it, 7 months had passed. Lucy and Henry had fully adjusted to their new lives. In every video and photo, they were smiling, laughing with their siblings, sharing little moments with their parents. But learning was still a challenge, especially for Lucy. During her 6 years in the welfare center, she had received almost no formal education. Still, her mother knew that learning was the key to opening up the world and helping Lucy build confidence. So every day, no matter how busy things got, she would sit with Lucy and teach her English, starting with the alphabet. After countless repetitions, Lucy was finally able to hold simple conversations with her mom.
J. J.
Not a J. Try again.
1.
It looks like a 1. It's an I.
I.
S.
B.
Wait, what's the letter? F. Good job.
Only a parent can truly understand how hard raising a child can be. And for a child like Lucy, living with Down syndrome, every little milestone takes patience, love, and persistence. But to her, even the smallest progress felt like a victory. Her favorite moment each day was going to pick up her siblings from school. It made her feel needed. It made her feel like she belonged. The Shooks didn't forget about Henry either. They enrolled him in a local special education school where he could learn at his own pace and feel supported. Slowly, he began to speak English fluently and even learned to read using Braille. Hoping to improve his vision, his parents took him to one of the best eye hospitals in the country for a full evaluation. Doctors explained that Henry's condition was due to a rare genetic mutation that caused his corneas to be cloudy. Unfortunately, current medical treatments couldn't offer a solution. The news was heartbreaking, but the Shooks never gave up. They kept looking for answers, believing that one day a way forward would appear. One year flew by. In that time, Lucy and Henry had built a new life in a new country. They had memories, routines, and a sense of safety they never knew before. Lucy had started school. Though her learning pace was slower than most, she never let it bring her down. She greeted each day with a smile. On the one-year anniversary of their adoption, the Shooks surprised the children with thoughtful gifts and dressed them in beautiful traditional Chinese outfits. The whole family gathered together, laughing and celebrating the day that had changed all of their lives. But their connection with China did not end there. 2 years later, while scrolling through short videos online, the Shooks came across a clip that immediately caught their attention. In it was a 3-year-old girl with Down syndrome. She reminded them so much of Lucy. Then they noticed something even more incredible. The video was posted by the same welfare center where they had adopted Lucy and Henry. It felt like fate. Without hesitation, they decided to begin the adoption process again. 6 months later, their application was approved. In March 2018, the entire family traveled across the ocean once more to bring their new daughter home. They gave her the name Eloise. Just like before, when the mother first laid eyes on Eloise, she was overwhelmed with emotion and couldn't hold back her tears. Lucy ran up to her new little sister, trying to make her laugh. Then, gently and with care, she wrapped her arms around Eloise, as if to say, "You're safe now. You're one of us." After finalizing the adoption paperwork, the Shooks brought Lucy back to the welfare center where she had once lived. It was their way of saying thank you to the caregivers who had looked after their daughter in those early years. They didn't stop there. Accompanied by staff from the center, the Shooks also visited the police station where Lucy had first been found. There, they saw the original missing child notice from years ago. Beneath it, they left a message, one meant for Lucy's birth parents. It read, "Your daughter has been adopted by a kind and loving family. She is deeply cherished. She's happy now and growing up in a joyful home, surrounded by people who truly care." Now, 10 years have quietly passed. The children have grown up surrounded by love, more confident, more resilient, more joyful than ever. The Shook family remains as close as ever, their bond stronger with each passing year. Recently, they spent a family vacation together in Colorado, laughing under the sun, their voices echoing through the mountains. What began as a journey of love has now become a way of life. And through their story, they've shown us that real family isn't about blood. It's about staying, loving, and growing together.